What's going on, everybody? The Hulkbuster buff beta is now up and running, and I gotta be honest with you guys, having a lot of fun playing with this new and improved Hulkbuster, but at the same time, he's got a lot of drawbacks. I want you guys to stick with me, and I'm gonna try to prevent you guys from drinking the Kool-Aid too, just not buying into the hype, maybe preventing a rank up decision that you might regret down the line. First, let's get into what makes Hulkbuster awesome, though, and that is his crazy damage potential, especially with this very unique synergy team that I have up here. So let's run through that real quick. We've got a unique synergy with Yellow Jacket. This is a new one where after you use a special attack, you're going to gain a Fury buff. Then we just have a generic crit synergy here, crit damage, more crit damage, more crit damage. I'm actually using two of the old Hulkbusters on this team just for style points, because when are you going to see three Hulkbusters on a team like this? Now, obviously, you wouldn't be able to use the new and old Hulkbuster on the live servers, but it doesn't matter. The only unique synergy I have is from the new Hulkbuster, and the other ones are there, like I said, just for style points. You can get the crit and crit damage elsewhere. So we're going to this fight against Winter Soldier. I'm going to explain exactly how his damage output works. He ramps up in two different ways. Number one, you want to be doing heavy attacks as much as possible. You apply shocks to the opponent, and the shock damage, it's nothing crazy, but for every shock that the opponent is suffering from, it's actually going to increase Hulkbuster's attack as well. So, trying to get another heavy attack here, and now I actually want him to block, which he does perfectly. Oh, thank you so much, Winter Soldier. And that actually power drains him, and now I'm able to just heavy attack this guy in the corner and deal ridiculous amounts of damage. I think I did one too many heavy attacks, actually. That was kind of risky what I just did there. I actually want him to block again. Ah, he didn't block for me. Alright, let's see if we can get him to block again. There we go. And hit him with that L2 one more time. And let's start the heavy combos again. So you can see some big numbers if I get some crits here, which... okay, we got a crit at the end there. And at this point, let's see if we get him to block one more time. Nope, he's not going to do it. We'll just hit him with the L2 regular style here. We almost got him down under 50 hits. It's possible to get him down under 50 hits, but we're not going to quite get it this time. That's fine. And with that stun, is that 50 hits on the dot, actually? I think so. Well, that's there's some extra style points right there. If Winter Soldier is willing to play into your attacks a little bit more, set you up and really go defensively, then you're able to deal a lot more damage. So I didn't fully explain how his damage works, but it's really a combination of the armor breaks from the specials and the shocks that you're applying with the heavy attacks. That's how to ramp up and deal that crazy damage with Hulkbuster. Now, if you can use your specials when the opponent is blocking, you get those bonuses. Now, the special one, you just gain an increased stun duration. Special one stuns regularly, but you gain increased stun duration. You have to use your armor ups to do that, though, unfortunately. And then the special two, you don't have to consume your armor ups. If you use your special two when the opponent's blocking, your first hit will be unblockable because you gain a 1 second duration unblockable buff. And then you will power lock them for 3 seconds while also draining all of their power. So it's pretty crazy, and that's how you're able to lock down the opponent in the corner. And if I ended the video here, you guys might be thinking, wow, Hulkbuster rework. It's looking pretty solid. I mean, last I checked, taking down Winter Soldier in Realm of Legends in 50 hits, especially when the old Hulkbuster probably took 500 hits to take down Winter Soldier. Well, that's a pretty big step up, right? And it is. Like I said, this rework, I've been having fun with it, but it's time to get critical about this champion. I've had a 4 to 5 tech rank up gem on the live servers for a very long time now, waiting for one of two things. One, to pull Ghost, which, let's face it, I'm probably never going to do. And two, the Hulkbuster rework. I figured, hey, if Ghost is out of the picture because I just can't seem to pull her, well, maybe I can give the gem to Hulkbuster. Let's go through his other abilities, though, and see where exactly the problem lies. First, the Awaken Ability. So, when you drop below 15% health, right there, I don't even need to read what else happens. When dropping below 15% health, I'm already... That's a huge red flag. You know, we've seen a lot of other champions, all the other Iron dudes, they all have similar abilities. When dropped below 15% health, something happens. I don't like these types of Awaken abilities. When you're in high level content, if you're at, 20, 30% health, and you slip up and you get hit and you're hoping that this ability, when you drop below 15% health, when you're hoping that this is going to save your life, sometimes it does, and sometimes the opponent just combos you, 5 hits, boom, you're knocked out. The only one of these abilities that I think is actually pretty reliable is Iron Man Infinity War. I've used Iron Man Infinity War offensively, and I've had his below 15% safety save my life enough times that I can say it's reliable. You gain massive amounts of armor, which reduce the incoming damage, along with auto blocking, along with his already very high block proficiency. That Iron Man Infinity War, I can count on that ability. I've tested Hulkbuster. I cannot count on Hulkbuster's ability. If I were to only show you guys highlights, then I could make it look, I can edit the video to show, hey, it's working every single time. But if I go through some real content, some high-level content, I cannot count on this ability. It will heal you, yes, but it doesn't reduce the damage. You don't gain some auto block. There's another part of Hulkbuster's toolkit here that when brought below 15% health, you gain an indefinite armor up, granting 370 armor rating. Whoop-de-doo, man. 370 armor rating? That's not enough. His other armor ups are also, 370. So you can have 3 of those at any given time. So 1,000 extra armor, which is nice. But, Hulkbuster, if we look at his stats here, he doesn't even have that high of block proficiency. It's actually on the low side. His armor is a little bit above average there and everything, so it makes up for it. It's not like he's a glass cannon type of champion, but it's not enough to save your life. It's not like Iron Man Infinity War. So that's strike 1, his Awaken ability right there, strike 1. Now, it's great on a new account or something because you don't need him to be awakened. You could still deal the massive amounts of damage. In that Winter Soldier fight, we didn't see the Awaken ability come into play at all whatsoever. But when I'm looking to potentially add this guy to my already very developed roster, that's a big red flag. Moving on. What else can we find about this champion that's actually useful? Well, he has 2 different modes, an attack mode and a defense mode. You can't switch between them. And actually like this is something I like about Hulkbuster. I think it helps to keep him a more balanced champion, but that's also a drawback at the same time because I'm looking at a balanced champion in a sea of very OP champions, and I'm just going to go with the overpowered champions every time. But he has 2 different modes, one when you're attacking with Hulkbuster and one when you put him on defense, and they're just set for the rest of the fight. So when you're attacking, you can gain a maximum of 2 armor ups, plus the additional 3rd one from the drop below 15% ability, and when you're on defense, you can have 4 of them. Then you gain a bunch of bonuses based on these armor ups. Hey, okay, this could be pretty cool. We've seen this before. Colossus had some abilities like this where you gain a bunch of bonuses based on your armor ups. Maybe Hulkbuster's not so bad after all. Let's see what this is. Well, first off, it's fighting non-cosmic champions that he gains these bonuses only. So, take away the cosmic champions for these bonuses. And then what are the actual bonuses? Well, you gain 900 energy resistance per armor up. Okay, that's pretty good. You also gain a little bit of crit damage rating. But offensively, if you can only have 2, kind of a 3rd armor up even, it's not enough. Then we also have the next bullet point there. Incoming bleed and poison debuffs suffer negative 25% potency. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to test that one out in a little bit here and just see how effective that actually is. It does not affect the suicide masteries. Hulkbuster, he's not a suicide-friendly champion. He has no immunities, no way to counter recoil other than the drop below 15% healing ability. Okay, next bullet point. Enemy attacks suffer negative 20% offensive ability accuracy per armor up. Okay, it's not enough to be reliable. The way I see it is that all of these are just to make Hulkbuster more annoying on defense, but I don't think he's going to be a strong defender. It's going to be one of those situations where Hulkbuster is in a quest, in some new quest, and Kabam throws a bunch of ridiculous nodes on him, and then combine those ridiculous nodes with some of these abilities, he'll become a difficult fight in that quest. But in terms of Alliance War, I don't see him being a tough defender. The final bullet point, enemy attacks suffer negative crit damage rating per armor up as well. It's really not that much negative crit damage rating. So it's kind of a whoop-de-doo, who cares situation. Again, just something to make him a little bit tankier in a quest when you're fighting against him. Okay, then we have this when struck by critical hits. Going to put a shock on the opponent, heavy attacks, apply the shock. So this is going to be useful for the times where you need to have shocks on the opponents to deal damage. But what about all the other nodes, man? I mean, that's it. That's it for his utility. It's... Okay, so, I mean, I kind of already mentioned this, but we'll go through it one more time. He gains the armor up. He gains an unblockable buff for a second, but I'm going to show you guys, it caught me off guard. I tried to use a special thinking I'd be unblockable against the buffet node, and I wasn't. If you think about all the debuffs, you go up against Masochism. We're talking about some of the basic nodes in Act 5 at this point. We're not even getting to the crazy nodes in Act 6 where it requires very specific champions to get through those fights. Like Hulkbuster, he's going to be great in situations where every other champion in the game is going to be great, where you have no trouble parrying and heavy attacking the opponent, where you have no trouble keeping armor breaks and shocks on the opponents. Like, who cares? You could use any champion in those situations. This guy, in my opinion, falls into that same category as Obsidian, where, yeah, you can deal damage, but so can so many other champions. Can you really justify investing the highest level rank up resources into a champion like this when there's other champions that exist that can do similar amounts of damage but also cover you in terms of immunities or some other benefit? I mean, you don't have any true strike with this champion. Good luck doing the heavy attack strategy up against an opponent that has any amount of evade at all. They're going to evade, they're going to counter you, you're going to be wiped out. So Hulkbuster, he, you know, maybe his other single greatest benefit is that he is a 2015 champion. And if you're going through the variants, which Hulkbuster is very capable, and he will help get through, especially Variant 2, because he's an XL champion, and Variant 3, because he's a tech champion. And then you can get a 2015 rank up gem, slap that into Hulkbuster, and you have yourself a very budget-friendly, if you want to look at it that way to add a pretty powerful champion to your roster. But you know, when it comes to competing with other champions, the way I feel about Hulkbuster is like this. Pre-buff, he is a very underwhelming 2015 champion. Post-buff, he is a very overpowered feeling 2017 champion. You know, as the years go on, the champions become more and more powerful. There's more tools added to their kit to allow us to conquer these more specific nodes that we're seeing in the deeper content in the game. And if we take a look at something like Aunt May here, and we go to the champions, and we look at the filters, you could actually filter by year, and we look at 2015, and there's not that many spectacular champions listed here. We have some of the champions that got reworked that are really powerful, like Colossus. We got some OGs on here, like Wolverine and Scarlet Witch, but for the most part, it's filled with a lot of duds, right? And then we move on to the years, and we look at 2016, and I would say Hulkbuster is stronger than most champions listed here, apart from some standouts like Hyperion, Voodoo, Quake, you know, maybe a couple of others, especially the post-reworks ones like She-Hulk's, right? But for the most part, I would say Hulkbuster is stronger than the average 2016 champion. We move on to 2017, and here's where I feel like Hulkbuster, he kind of fits in. You know, he's stronger than most of the champions here, but not all of them. We've got some very powerful ones like Archangel, Blade, Gwenpool is pretty powerful, Medusa, Morningstar, once you get her built up, Stark Spidey, Iceman. We've got some powerful champions, and I feel like Hulkbuster, he fits in with this crowd. You know, and in 2017, the nodes weren't as specific. But like I said, even going through something like Act 5, you're going to run into trouble up against Buffet and Masochism, right? We haven't even got to the really ridiculous nodes. He's going to have trouble there already. And then as we move on to the 2018 champions, here's where, like I said, Hulkbuster is a strong champion, but he just doesn't, you know, he just doesn't compare to some of these super strong champions like Aegon. He doesn't bring something unique and special to the table like Captain America with his block proficiency. You know, he has strong damage, but You look at a champion like Corvus that has also very strong damage, does not rely on getting those heavy attacks, the unique playstyle of spamming heavies up against the wall. He just has a standard power drain on the special too, without needing to attack into their block. You know, it has immunities, things like that. Like, it just doesn't compare. So there's a lot of champions now that we hit 2018 that I would say I would rank up probably half of these champions before I would look at Hulkbuster. Even the champions that, for the average fight, I wouldn't think are stronger than Hulkbuster, like Gladiator Hulk here. Of course, in the average fight, when there's no real obstacle in my way, I'm going to choose Hulkbuster over someone like Gladiator Hulk. Hulkbuster is going to deal more damage, this new and improved Hulkbuster, that is. But I would still give the rank up resources to Gladiator Hulk over Hulkbuster any day of the week, because there's going to be those situations where I'm up against Starburst, and I'm going to want that, or some other type of damage that I need Gladiator Hulk for, right? Some of these specific counters, which Hulkbuster just does not do. There's nothing special that he brings to the table. It's his damage output that makes him strong. You know, it's, like I said, he's going to be, he's kind of a stepping stone champion is the way I look at him. He'll be great for getting through the variants that I mentioned, things like that. Allow you to pull these other resources. If I pulled Hulkbuster on my McFabio account, I would have had a blast with him. I would have used him. I would have loved it. But I have all these other champions. We haven't even got to 2019, which also has a ton of other champions that I would want ranked up before even considering Hulkbuster. So all that's to say, you know, I think Hulkbuster is cool, but lacking at the same time. He is lacking. So I want to give you guys a test run. I want to test out one other utility item here on the list, because here's where I did see some potential. Because of my itemless runs, I got pretty good at looking for situations where I can take advantage of willpower. And if you're fully immune to a debuff, you're not going to gain any healing from willpower. But if you can reduce the potency of it, if you can stack up the negative, especially bleed part of this, if you can get those 3 armor ups to reduce bleed potency by 75%, and then you go in and you look at the masteries, and you further reduce that bleed potency with something like Coagulate, well, that can drop it below 100%. So you are fully immune to the damage while still suffering from the bleed debuff, allowing you to heal up. So that is something that I tested out, and I want to show you guys the results of that right now. And I want to test this out in a real environment here, man. I don't want to just have some puny bleed and be like, oh, look, this is great. I'm able to do this fight. No, what I want to do is I want to test out Hulkbuster here in Act 6, Quest 5, the quest that has the Crossbones boss. I have some other champions along with me just to help me get to the Crossbones boss, but there's the only synergy that Hulkbuster is benefiting from right now is a little bit of a crit synergy. But this guy has Biohazard, and Biohazard, when the opponent has a high amount of attack, which this boss does have, it does a lot of damage, and you really need to completely reduce the potency of that bleed, otherwise you're going to die. So I'm going to go ahead and clear my way up to this Crossbones, and then we'll see if Hulkbuster is capable of doing it, and hopefully capable of healing from it as well. I'm going to try to use Hulkbuster along the way a little bit, but in order to prevent this video from getting on too long, I will be editing out a lot of these fights. Alright, we got a little bit of a class advantage fight against this Sabretooth. Let's see how he does, even though Sabretooth has that healing. The global in this quest is draining my power, so not quite able to do some of the cooler things that Hulkbuster is able to do. But we still got through the fight decently quick. Let me see how many hits that was. 38? It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Let's try a class disadvantage fight since we just went through a class advantage one. I want to get to an L2, but against this global, it's tough. Oh, here we go. This is a cool trick. Get some power drains going. Oh no, that's right, you can't power drain Venom. Oh no, I forgot. Oh man. Let's see what happens if I use a stun here. There we go. Okay. Hulkbuster clearly not a super suicide friendly champion, but I am going to go ahead and just heal him up right here. It's the beta. You get these items for free, might as well. Buffet node. You know what? This would actually be a pretty interesting test for Hulkbuster, since you really want Hulkbuster to have those armor ups. Let's see what happens. Nope, the armor up was immediately drained by the buffet node. I'm going to try to see if I can push this guy to an L2 and hope that he doesn't throw it. Because then if I attack into his block, like this, drain him. Oh, wow! Or I cannot drain him, because buffet, so you gain an unblockable attack there. You gain, wow, you gain an unblockable buff. It's a 1-second buff. So the buffet actually ate that buff, and I was not able to attack into his block. Okay, alright, so there's a little bit of a downside of that ability, that's for sure. We've made it to the crossbones fight, guys. This is the moment that I've been waiting for. He has an extremely powerful bleed effect from the biohazard. Because when attacking this guy, I mean, he also has poison when attacking his block, but I can't reduce the poison damage down to 0, so I'm not gonna attack him. I'm not gonna attack into his block, but it's a 100% of crossbones attack dealt over 7.5 seconds. You know what? Just to make this easier to see, I'm actually gonna drop the suicide masteries just so that we don't have any conflicting info from the suicide mastery. So let me do that real quick, and I'm just gonna go with this build. I'm not gonna put any points in the specialty masteries here, like despair. Of course, I do, like I said, have coagulate maxed out. That is the only way offensively that I'm currently aware of to reduce his bleed potency below 0 when playing Hulkbuster offensively. If there is some sort of some armor up synergy out there that I'm not aware of, please put that in the comments, and then yeah, that'll make it much easier to fully remove any sort of bleed damage. I'm even going to take him up to full health, even though that doesn't really matter because I actually want Hulkbuster to drop below 15% health, because that's how I'm going to gain my 3rd armor up. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to stall the fight a little bit, just so I can gain more armor ups. I need 15 seconds to go by to gain the 2nd armor up. Actually, I'll attack him a little bit with just the 1 armor up and coagulate. Let's see what that bleed damage is going to hit for. Okay. So yeah, you can see it's a pretty serious bleed. That was before I got the 2nd armor up. It happened right before, I believe. So now I'm going to go ahead, now that I have 2 armor ups, we'll see what kind of damage that bleed does. Let's get this crossbones use special, there we go. Okay. And yeah, look at the difference. Wow, it's so much less. But that's not what we're here to test, man. We're here to test and see if we go all the way down. I need to take some hits here. How do I do this in a safe way? I actually need to push him back. Oh, that's right. Okay, this is actually a pretty safe way because you don't gain willpower healing for each bleed debuff. So I'm going to dip below 15% health here in a second. See, I don't know how realistic this is, but you know, in a questing situation, if you don't fully heal yourself up and you're fighting against caltrops or something like that, you know, maybe that's a little bit more realistic. Almost down below that 15% threshold. I'm also going to gain a huge heal for going below 15% as well. I'm really holding off on dealing damage until I get to that point. Okay, alright. So now any new bleeds that come in, yeah, you can see I'm not taking any bleed damage. Alright, so that works. Cool, man. And the healing is from my Awaken Ability. Very similar to the other Iron Men. I reduce damage that way. Oh, whoops. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, no. That's right. When using your special, you remove some armor up. Okay, so was not the most ideal test here, but well, that's that, man. Yeah, so Hulkbuster, he's got some funny quirks to him, man. Let's go see what happened. Let's read his abilities. And here's actually what happened. If we look at his special one, the second bullet point there, if the opponent's block is broken by the attack, all of Hulkbuster's armor up buffs are consumed to add some duration to the stun debuff for each armor up consumed this way. I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to just, you know, use my special as soon as I got it, but because of the global in this quest, the way you gain power because of the power struggle node, it's a little bit delayed, and as a result, well, rip armor ups. I'm going to try to go in with Hulkbuster just at 20% health. This way we don't have to kind of work my health down, and this might be more realistic anyway. If you actually die in a fight, you're not going to heal up to full every time. It is one of Hulkbuster's benefits to gain that healing. There we go. So healing's activated. I've got some bleed on myself. I'll gain the third armor up momentarily. Right now I'm still taking damage from it. Okay, there we go. So now any new bleed debuffs will not deal any damage to myself, and I should be able to heal up to full at this point over the course of the fight. We'll see if I have the damage output for this. It's a little bit sketchy against Crossbones because I want to be doing heavy attacks to increase my damage output, and I want to have the armor breaks stick to Crossbones as well, but of course we all know he's going to shrug off some of those. Don't know if this was the best idea pushing him to an L2, but did it anyway. So yeah, I mean, I would absolutely still use a different champion here. Even though it looks like Hulkbuster probably can get through this fight, and it was good to test the healing reduction, or I'm sorry, the bleed reduction, so that I can heal from willpower. A little bit slow compared to using someone like Omega Red or something. Yeah, this is just taking way too long. This will work. I will definitely get Crossbones down. It's just taking a little too long, so I don't think I'm going to push him all the way. Yeah, Hulkbuster, man, that's kind of my early thoughts on him in general, is just that he's a strong champion, but is he strong enough to replace some of the really OP champs on my roster? Nope. He's not. Pretty sure I'm just going to stick to using the same old champs. We'll see how tanky he is right now with those armor ups. He's nowhere near as tanky as someone like Colossus. He still went down pretty quick. This guy has a lot of damage, to be fair. And there you have it. That's my honest first impressions of Hulkbuster, the new and greatly improved Hulkbuster. He's powerful, but not quite strong enough to be worthy of getting my 4 to 5 tech rank up gem. He just doesn't bring anything special to the table. His utility is lacking in a huge way for the direction that this game is going in. And although I would find him incredibly useful on, you know, like the McFabio account, if I started another new account challenge, I would love to get the new and improved Hulkbuster. But you know, I also loved getting the new and improved Gamora. You know what I mean? Like, I think Hulkbuster is even more useful than Gamora, but still, I'm not going to give rank up resources to Hulkbuster over some of these other champions that can really help me get through some of the very specific nodes that Kabam has been rolling out. Hulkbuster, he's the type of champion that will blow up Winter Soldier very quickly, but so many other champions can do the same and bring something special, whereas I feel like Hulkbuster's biggest kind of special thing that he has is this list right here for each one of his armor ups that he gains. That's going to make him you know, a lot tankier. It's going to really slow down the pace of the fight in a quest. And it is going to make him tanky enough when you're fighting against him that he'll likely survive and gain this healing. And yeah, he's going to be a little bit more painful to go up against. Not super painful, not someone like, you know, an Ebony Maw, where Ebony Maw has all that degen damage. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be different, and I think that's a good place for Hulkbuster to be, but it's not quite enough for me to rank him up offensively. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.